Hi, this is Trey Passer, and welcome to Trey Passer's Saturday Horror Reviews, episode 26, I believe. Yep, 26. Um, and I'm reviewing 1988's Pumpkinhead. There it is. There. Directed, of course, by Stan Winston, the FX genius behind Alien and a bunch of other great horror movies and regular sci-fi action movies. It's Stan Winston. It's just I guess directorial debut. And again, this came out in 1988, and it stars Lance Henriksen, Bishop from Alien, and he has one of the coolest voices ever. Okay, basically, this is the story of him. He plays Ed Harley. He has a young son, and what happens is these punk kids. I would say punk kids, but young, I guess young people. I don't say I ain't gonna call them teenagers. I think they're young adults for the most part. All of them, there's only one kid I think looks sort of teenagers, but all of them are like young adults and or city kids, as the saying goes. And they go to the backwoods. I think it's 6 of them, because I think it's one couple, it's 3 couples. Yeah, 3 couples, man. Yeah. Okay, they go with their little bikes, and they I guess they plan on going to a cabin and do a little biking and stuff and filming it and stuff. And you can tell there's the older there's 2 brothers and their friend and their 3 girls, and the oldest kid, young adult, excuse me, is a bit of an asshole. Okay, to be perfectly blunt about it. And he has a separate car, and the other 2 couples are in their their pickup with the bikes, and you can tell this guy's an asshole. That's just the way he's acting and stuff, acting all arrogantly and not wanting to wait and stuff. And anyway, he doesn't even want to wait when they stop by at Ed's little country store that he has with the cutest young kid, blonde little kid, and his little dog. Okay, you can tell he's a widowed father. He's taking care of his kid, and they show actually in the beginning of the movie they show a prologue of when Ed is a kid actually, and when his father is basically locking things up in the house and locking everything down, and then you see somebody running through the woods and desperate, looking back constantly, and then you see him banging on Ed's father's cabin, saying, "Please let me in. Let me in. He's after me. He's after me. I didn't kill that girl. I don't care what they say." And Ed's father basically tells him, "Don't come in here. I got my shotgun in here, and I'm locked up. You ain't got nothing to do with this. That's your business. This thing got nothing to do with us." And then you see the guy run off. He said, "What kind of Christian family are you?" And then he runs off. And then, of course, you see something pursuing him. Okay, and it catches up to him. And, of course, young Ed is, he's supposed to be in bed, but he looks out the window and he sees the Pumpkinhead basically snatch this, screaming guy up. Okay, and takes care of him. And then, you fast forward, years later, where it is an adult, and like I said, he's a single father with the cutest young blonde kid with glasses, and of course the little dog. And you can, that they're they're a tight, they're a tight family and stuff. He's helping his dad. He even makes his dad a little necklace, okay, as a gift. And they run, like I said, they run the local store, and these punk young adults come up there, and of course, since the older kid is an asshole, can't wait until they actually get to the cabin. He pulls out the dirt bikes, and then his brother, who's kind of a follower, he pulls his dirt bike out, and they start doing these little stunts up in the woods. And his father, Ed, tells his son to listen. He has to deliver feed, so he tells his young son to stay in the store, okay, and don't come out until I come back after I make this delivery. And of course, the kid, he stays in there, but until his dog, of course, dog runs out there, doesn't, he hears the dirt bikes and runs out, and he chases after the dog, of course. So, he doesn't. And let me say, one of the funniest parts ever was, I know it's not intentionally funny, but you see the kid run out after the dog, and I guess one of the girls sees him and tries to stop him, but she kind of stumbles really badly, really horribly, trying to chase after him. It looks absolutely awful. Then the way she tries to catch him without really catching him. Okay, and he runs up in between the guys doing the dirt bikes, and they can't see him. And the older kid does the wheelie and comes down basically on top of the kid. Okay, and of course the young kid is dead. Is knocked unconscious. Of course he's dead. And of course the kids panic and stuff. And the older punk kid, older, well, I call him punk kid, older adult, he puts his, he basically runs out of there, and then the younger brother basically tells everybody else to leave. The girls are upset, and he tells everybody else to leave. He said, "I'll stay with the kid until his father comes back." So they leave. First, they at least the kids have the decency to look at them and see if they can try to get help. But when they go back to their cabin, and the other kids, other people try to, the older, not the older brother, but the other friend tries to call for help, but the older brother says, "I'm on probation. I can't report this accident. I'm going to go to jail." Of course, so he basically doesn't care that the kid is dying, or dead or dying, but he just said, "I can't go to jail." So the other kid kind of knocks him down, to pick up the phone to try to call for help, and then he pulls the phone line jack out of the wall, and then he sucker punches the kid, and he locks him and his girlfriend and basically locks him in a closet, and bars the door so they can't, get help. The one girl's a complete mess, and the older, the older kid, who actually ran over the kid and is on probation, his girlfriend's, she's basically has no spine, so she won't even go against him. So that just leaves like I said, the younger brother to stay with the body until, Ed comes back. Ed comes back, and of course he picks up his son and he glares at the kid who tries to explain to him this is an accident. But he doesn't. Of course, Ed doesn't care. He gets in the car and drives to his neighbor. He said, "Listen, I'm looking for this witch. Okay, can you tell me, where she is?" And the neighbor says, "Listen, that's none of my business. I'm not going to tell you. Leave that alone." And of course, but Ed doesn't listen, and he gets ready to drive off, and then his neighbor's kid, sneaks up, or a grandkid sneaks up behind him and says, "Listen, you pay me some money, I'll teach you. I know where the witch lives." And he said, "Okay, here." He gives him some money, and he gets in a van. He makes him get in the van and show him where the witch lives, which he does. And then, of course, he goes with his dead son's body and tells the witch, "Listen, my son. These people killed my son. I want to, I want to see if you can bring my son back." And the witch says, "Listen, I can't bring your son back, but I can help you get revenge." Of course. And of course, he tells him, listen, you got to go to this certain graveyard, dig up this demon, and bring it back to me, okay? Which he does. And then she, takes some of his blood, and I think some of the blood of his dead son, and of course revives the Pumpkinhead. And basically, the Pumpkinhead, he tells him that, listen, she tells him that the Pumpkinhead is going to get revenge for you. And it won't stop until it, gets the revenge for you, okay? And so, of course, then Pumpkinhead starts killing these punk kids. I keep calling them kids. Young adults, okay? And, of course, Ed has regrets. But also Ed is linked to Pumpkinhead. That's the key to this movie, that he is actually physically linked. You see when the Pumpkinhead starts killing these kids, Ed feels it, okay? He basically, he's psychically linked to the Pumpkinhead. And of course, then he has regrets, that the Pumpkinhead's killing these kids, and of course he tries to stop them. Now, like I said, this movie is not the best movie. Okay, let's be perfectly honest. It's not. The kids, it's not Oscar worthy at all. You get some pretty horrible acting from these young adults. Okay, Lance Henriksen is the best thing about the movie. Okay, because he's a good actor, and you can tell they have a low budget. And the direction is not that great. Stan Winston, I guess, is a great FX guy, but as a director, okay. But like I said, Lance Henriksen makes the movie. Okay, and you have some okay kills, and there were some funny moments, unintentionally funny moments, and it's particularly one I want to talk about, where the Pumpkinhead's outside of the cabin, and he's yanking killing the other kids, and this the older punk kid who actually I keep calling him punk kid, the older dude that actually brother who basically ran over the kid, and doesn't want to go to jail because he's on probation. He's sitting there with his girlfriend in the cabin, terrified, and then they see Pumpkinhead drag a girl out, or actually, I think Pumpkinhead pushes her through the window. First he mushes her face against the window, then he throws her through the window, and then the one, the guy sitting there with his girlfriend, the girlfriend just passes out. He's sitting there all shaking and terrified. She's sitting next to him, and she just passes. She goes straight back, and it just looked incredibly funny the way she just fainted straight back, and you get hit with a thud, like she passes out. Okay, and it's got some, like I said, and the most famous, I guess, young adult in there is Jeff East, who played the young Clark Kent in the original Superman movie with Christopher Reeve. He's there, I guess, with his naturally blonde hair, and I guess he's the only really decent actor in there. But it's a lot of silly falling down, not people running, these young couple are, they're running, and trying to, they actually run to looking for people to help them, of course, and just like in the original, all the way back in the prologue, where with a doomed victim was banging on Ed's father's cabin trying to get in. These people tell him, "Listen, that got nothing to do with us. Get out of here, kids." And except that one of the the grandkid who actually pointed Ed to the witch, he actually comes out and tries to help. Okay, and actually plus he's curious. He wants to see what Pumpkinhead looks like. Okay, but like I said, this is not the best movie by far. I mean, there's some okay kills in this. Okay, like I said, the acting is pretty atrocious, aside from Lance Henriksen. He's the most professional actor in this movie. Okay, and the creature itself, it looks like a xenomorph. It does look like a xenomorph, and I guess it would because Stan Winston created that. But like I said, the Pumpkinhead is okay, and I understand there's 3 sequels to this. Okay, I think a direct sequel, and then I think 2 TV movies that I'm actually kind of curious to see, just to see if they kind of improved upon the acting. Well, I guess these movies, you don't expect great acting in these. Just, I guess, decent kills, I think, and a good legend, I guess, for the Pumpkinhead. And I guess the legend of the Pumpkinhead is good. The Pumpkinhead, you conjuring him up, and he gets revenge for you for whatever wrong is being done, and he won't stop until it's actually completed. I thought, which is pretty cool, actually. That, in theory, that's the execution, not so much. Okay, so I'm going to give Pumpkinhead, I was debating to give this a 6, but mostly because of Lance Henriksen. He kind of makes the movie. He gives him his finest acting in this. He actually is a decent, he's the best thing about it, actually. So, because the young adult actors are absolutely horrible, okay? And some of the, the lighting in the woods and all that stuff, it gets kind of repetitive after a while, okay? And why these people didn't just, they did kind of explain one thing to me, which I thought was kind of, I said, why did these people just get in their trucks and run away, and just drive away? But they kind of explain why that doesn't happen. Anyway, Pumpkinhead, I'm going to give that Pumpkinhead a, is it average? I think it's a little bit below average because of the horrible. But then again, like I say, you don't expect great acting out of these movies, so I'm going to give it a 6. And I think that may be a little bit too high, but mostly because Lance Henriksen. Okay, he's the best thing about it. Well, 6, well, 5. I'm thinking 5.5. Because average, but Lance Henriksen's the best thing about it. No, I'm going to give it a 6. About average. Yeah, I'll give it a 6. Okay, and that's because of Lance Henriksen. Okay, he's the best thing about it. Okay, and the Pumpkinhead, a few good kills, but horrible acting, of course, as usual, by the young adults. Okay, anyway, let me know what you think. If you've seen Pumpkinhead, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. If you like this review, please hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll also share this video on the Horoscope 101 channel. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.